Hi everyone, it's Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be creating some easy pattern paper backgrounds using components from the Simon Says Stamp March 2022 card kit of the month called HOPPY Days Ahead. This stamp set or card kit would be perfect for Easter themed cards, but I'm also going to show you how to create like everyday style cards with the components from this kit, starting with images from the brand new 6x8 HOPPY Days Ahead clear stamp set. This stamp set comes in the kit as well as sold individually. I'm going to be coloring in my images and then die cutting them to use on my cards. You get the stamp set in the kit. The dies are going to be a separate purchase, or if you have a like a brother scan and cut or something like that, you can die cut these out or fussy cut with your scissors, whatever you prefer. I'm going to use three main color combinations for my bunnies today. The first color combination is E81, 84, and 87 with R00 for the insides of the ears and the cheek. We're just going to work to kind of get a good blend here, add a little dot detail, and then make sure everything is kind of the way we want it to look before moving on. I picked three different color combinations, pardon me, for a lot of added interest today. I've really been loving E81, 84, and 87. It's something that, even though I've had these markers for years, I don't know that I've actually ever used them until like the last few weeks. So I've just been trying to kind of go out of my comfort zone a little bit. Totally going to go back to my comfort zone with my other two color combinations, but I really, really love how this turned out, and I like the different shades for these sweet little bunnies. This stamp set has loads of great images in it and so many amazing sentiments. So whatever you kind of want to create a springtime card for, there's going to be a greeting for that. There's also several flowers, little tufts of grass, and then of course all of the hearts that you can see I've already stamped on my paper. We're only going to be using bunnies today. I think I used all the bunny images but two. There is 6 different bunny images, and then lots and lots of amazing sentiments. HOPPY Days Ahead, always stop to smell the flowers, thinking of you, sending hugs. Another version of HOPPY Days Ahead, I really like there's some different different fonts. I love I Carrot Wait to See You Again, which would be really cute to use with the bunny holding a carrot. Goodness sakes, just thinking about you makes me hoppy. I love all the little plays on words. Happily ever after, just saying hello. You make me feel so hoppy every day. No bunny compares to you. Happy Easter. Some bunny loves you, wishing I could hug you. You are some bunny special to me, and happy birthday. That's a lot of great greetings. And as you can see, one Easter greeting here. That's it. The rest really go, across so many different occasions. And I love that because I think, for me at least, bunnies can be used anytime. Some of my favorite stamp sets include bunnies. I'm thinking a lot like Mama Elephant or things like that. And so think of this stamp set like you would use one of those, and you could make cards for any occasion. So it also included in the kit is an amazing assortment of the Paper Rose Wildflower Field 6x6 double-sided paper. I absolutely love the paper. It's really beautiful muted florals. It totally gives me those springtime vibes that I think we're all eager for if you have winter like we do here. So I definitely love that. This is E40, 43, and 44. Yes, this is one of my go-to color combinations. You guys, if you follow me, have probably seen me use it. And then the gray bunny that I colored next to the first one, that is warm gray 3, 5, and 7, I believe, or 6. The exact colors are listed down below the video here on YouTube, as well as listed over on my blog for easy reference. All of the hearts were colored with our 01, 05, and 08, which is more of a salmon type color rather than an actual red. I took my color cue directly from some of the florals in the pattern paper. I really wanted, when I placed those hearts on my designs, and I wanted to make sure and do a trio of hearts on all 3 cards, that I would coordinate the color of heart with the pattern paper. So that is one of my favorite little tricks for kind of getting everything to coordinate. And then of course, all of the great earth tones that I used for the bunnies are going to complement the florals really nicely. I am going to color, I think I color the rest of these bunnies off camera because it's simply repetition of the color combinations I've already shown you. I did have one individual flower. I'm going to color the center with E55 and E57 and the petals with YR 23 and 21 with a little bit of BG 93 and 95, I believe, for the leaf there. I only did one little flower. I really felt that's all I needed. I thought I might come back and do some other coloring for my cards, but once I had laid everything out, I really thought I had enough. I have been loving this Rabbit Hole Designs powder tool. Love, love, love this. So definitely check that out if you are looking for a great powder tool to use when embossing. I want to get all of the components for my cards ready, and then we're going to put them all together at once. So to do this, I am taking some of the Simon Says Stamp Smoke cardstock included in the kit, and I am going to take sentiments from that Hoppy Days stamp set and stamp them right there on the smoke cardstock. I've got Hoppy Birthday, just thinking about you makes me hoppy, and you make me feel so hoppy every day. Those 3 sentiments are going to be stamped directly on the gray cardstock with embossing and watermark ink, heat embossed with white embossing powder, and then die cut. And I'm going to die cut the 2 longer phrases with my favorite Simon Says Stamp Sentiment Labels dies. And then that small Hoppy Birthday is actually going to be die cut with a favorite thought bubble die from Mama Elephant, and that is from the Let's Chat collection. Any small little thought bubble will work here. Think Lawn Fawn. Lawn Fawn has a lot of thought bubbles in their collection. Often they coordinate with a stamp, but you don't have to use it with a stamp. You can use it as is, or other stamp sets that you might own in your stash if you want to do something similar. Then I'm going to die cut these. Again, I love my Sentiment Labels dies from Simon Says Stamp. I've mentioned this many times, but they are one of my most often used die sets. I keep them on a little magnet right next to my die cutting machine for easy use so that I don't have to go get them out of my file all the time. Now we're going to grab our Spellbinders Platinum die cutting machine and do all of our die cutting all at once. And there is a little bit of die cutting to do here, as I want to die cut the layers for the background of my card. And for the background of my card today, we are going to be using the Mama Elephant B2B rectangles. I love these because they come in so many sizes. You may already have some basic rectangles in your stash. I simply picked this one. It's one of the newer ones I have, and there's just so many rectangles in here, so I could really mix and match with each card background to achieve the kind of background I want. Every single background I will be using some sort of B2B rectangle die, and then on the landscape style, I'm going to die cut my pattern paper with that B2B rectangle, and then I'm going to die cut one of the patterns. I die cut 2 of the backgrounds with one of those, and then I'm going to die cut one of them with a Simon Says Stamp wavy scallop stitch. So right now I'm actually still die cutting my sentiment labels. I'm showing you how I run them through one side. I line them up with one side of the sentiment, run it through, pop it out, line up the other side, and run that through the other way. I usually only just run it till you hear it click, till you hear the die cut, and then I back it back out, and you end up with perfectly die cut sentiment strips. You can also use a paper trimmer if you prefer. Now, there are some really beautiful pattern papers in the Paper Rose Wildflower field. I don't always feel this way about the pattern paper. Like, generally there's one side I like better than another. Many of these I try to be very strategic with how I die cut the pattern paper so that I could use the rest of it for something else later, because I really do love both sides of most of these pattern papers. Now, that alphabet and number background spoke to me first, so I definitely wanted to die cut that. And then I also want to die cut, I think I'm going to do that next one I was talking about, where we're going to die cut one of the patterns with the Simon Says Stamp wavy scallop stitches. I think that's what we're going to do next, but I'm simply just going to die cut the different pattern papers to use for my background. Actually, no, I'm going to do one of my others first. This one is a little bit busier pattern paper, and so I'm going to use my favorite hack with this one, and I'm going to die cut a little bit smaller rectangle using those B2B rectangles, and I am going to die cut a piece of vellum that I can layer over that pattern paper, which mutes it just enough that it helps our bunny and sentiments stand out. And I'll show you that a little bit closer as we put our cards together. The first card we're putting together is that alphabet and number background pattern paper that has like the alphabet with the florals and things. I love it. I've also die cut a little bit bigger rectangle from the wood grain pattern paper. We're going to pop up our sentiment and our bunnies with foam adhesive right there on the front of our panel. I love these bunnies. Aren't they cute? I almost used the Hoppily Ever After, but I opted to do You Make Me Feel So Hoppy Every Day. And then coming up from the center of the bunnies is going to be our little trio of hearts, which I'm also popping up. Popping up your images against a pattern paper background is instantly going to elevate them and help them stand apart from your background. I think a lot of times the intimidation with using pattern paper comes with how to make it so that your elements stand out. And that is my number one tip, whether you're using pre-mades or you are going to stamp and color your own images like I did today. And you can see how cute these bunnies look against that background. The background becomes just a beautiful design element. The sentiment stands out lovely, kind of helps ground the images, so cute. And that's it. We're going to put adhesive all over the back of this. We're going to pop this on a white top fold card base. There's going to be a nice white border all the way around. And then we're going to finish the hearts on the card with a layer of glossy accents. And I'm actually going to do that for all three cards, even though all three cards kind of feature a different style. So this first one is pattern paper on pattern paper. Now, oh, the one other thing I forgot to tell you, I did take a white Jelly Roll pen and add some little white detail to the bunny's tails and the cheeks, as well as some little highlights on the hearts. But other than that, I didn't go over the top with white pen detail, just a couple places here and there. And then here's that glossy accents I was talking about. We'll set this aside to dry while we put together the next background. So next up, I'm going to do the background that's landscape. And this is the one die cut with the wavy scallop stitches, which is one of my all-time favorite border dies from Simon Says Stamp. And I die cut both of these backgrounds with a B2B rectangle first, and then I die cut a portion of this background with that wavy stitches. This pattern paper actually had the florals at the top and the bottom, so essentially you could get 2 borders and create 2 cards like this from that one sheet of paper, which I really love. I did adhere the flower or floral border up a little bit, and I trimmed a little bit of this green pattern paper, which is actually the backside of one of the other papers I used. I really liked that because I think it's going to help ground the 2 bunny images that I'm going to place along the edge. I really liked this floral border. I think it kind of serves as a not only design element, but it kind of helps create the scene of these bunnies in this flower garden. And that was the look I was going for here. So we are going to, again, pop up our bunnies and hearts and our sentiment strip with foam adhesive squares, just like so, and really let that floral border shine. So we got a little earth tone bunny and a little gray bunny. The gray bunny is going to be holding his little flower, and then the hearts are going to come up. This is a very clean and simple. All of these cards for me are my version of clean and simple, but I think really beautiful and effective. So just some foam adhesive squares, all the foam adhesive squares. I know I talked about this in a video, I think last week. My love of foam adhesive. But that little green with white stripe border is just the perfect little finishing touch. This design, so the first card had 2 different patterns. This card has 3 different patterns, and our final card will feature my other favorite technique with pattern paper, which is the vellum that I mentioned a little bit ago. Oh, look at that sweet little bunny. I just think their faces are so cute. I really like this stamp set. Now, the stamp set does come in the kit, but remember, you can always purchase the stamp set individually as well. And then we're going to just pop up those little hearts here and glue the flower in place. I glued the flower directly to the bunny, and then I popped up the hearts with foam adhesive. I don't want to cover the face up too much. I want it to appear that he's holding that flower. We're going to speed up the assembly a little bit here since it is basically some repetition. This entire panel will be adhered to a white side fold card base. Again, the rectangles I picked are a little bit smaller than the card base, leaving us with a nice white border all the way around, which frames up our scene beautifully. I will add some white pin detail to the bunny's tails, the cheeks, and also some white highlights to the hearts before finishing the hearts with a layer of glossy accents. And I kind of got outside the bunny's tail with my white, and so I just took my Copic marker and tried to fix that a little bit. Do not watch TV while you're trying to do little white dots because you might get distracted. That's what happened there. If you have air bubbles in your glossy accents, a straight pin, take that tip and just pop those little air bubbles so that your hearts dry nice and flat without the bubbles in them. And there is our second background. Now, my third background is a technique that I absolutely adore. I love vellum. So I actually have a vellum rectangle slightly smaller than the pattern paper one. And then we are going to incorporate another stamped sentiment. There are some sentiments in here that look like sentiment strips. And I stamped mine in some green inks, and I stamped Some Bunny Loves You. And then I simply took my scissors and cut them apart. I'm going to be popping those up underneath my bunnies. I picked a green ink that kind of complements, I think, the design, hopefully. And then I did add the Hoppy birthday little thought bubble up above. all of the components are going to be added with foam adhesive, and we're going to place everything on our vellum rectangle first, and then we're going to hide our adhesive runner where we have our images here that we've added with foam adhesive. That is a great place to hide your adhesive to adhere the vellum to the pattern paper. And that's the only places I'm going to be placing some tape runner, because that's a great way to hide the adhesive so it does not show through the front. So there, I just added it really quickly. Back behind the thought bubble, the bunnies, and those little sentiment strips. These rectangles also are smaller than the card front, leaving us with a nice white border all the way around. I tried to do something a little different, or use different sizes throughout, really just basing the sizes of the rectangle dies I used on the little scene I was going to build. So I would lay out the bunnies on my desk over the pattern paper using the die, and I would just kind of swap out the dies to figure out which rectangle worked best. We'll use our white pen detail again, finish with glossy accents, and that is it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video featuring the Simon Says Stamp March 2022 card kit called HOPPY Days Ahead. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Simon Says Stamp card kits that you might be interested in. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description down below. We would love to have you. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new card making video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.